Peace. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of the Five Playland. As always, I'm your five player. I wanted to talk about the hypocrisy of some of these YouTube boxing channels when it comes to the situation between Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, and how they cover that versus how they've covered the Errol Spence Bud Crawford situation in the past. As some of you may or may not know, Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez seemingly don't like each other. Like, a lot of them, I mean, they both go back and forth, sending salvos out as to them wanting to fight each other. And I think that's a good thing. Like, I think it's healthy, like, that they do it. Devin Haney, or vice versa, or Teofimo Lopez is holding the real belt when it comes to the WBC. And they want to, I mean, and that's not the only reason that they don't like each other. I mean, like, they just keep going back and forth. I mean, they're within the same, like, age bracket, weight, and they have that dislike for each other. Their dads have gotten into the fray. Both of their dads are vocal, and they've both gotten into the fray as far as wanting to fight each other, seemingly. And I think that's a good thing. Like, it's healthy. I would love to see that fight. I think them fighting each other would be dope for the sport. And also to put the welterweight division on blast for not fighting each other. And it's not just Bud Crawford and Errol Spence not fighting each other, but that's the main one, especially the main one that pisses me off. But all those welterweights have done a shit job as far as avoiding each other, or a great job avoiding each other and not fighting each other. But the hypocrisy, in my eyes, comes with a lot of the channels that are very protective of Errol Spence fall into the same grouping as far as also protective or proponents of Devin Haney. You know, of trying to guide a narrative, like, you know, where Devin Haney is deserving of this and is the best because of that, which I think Devin Haney has more skills than Teofimo Lopez. But and I think that they have, and I think that Devin Haney has a good shot of beating Teofimo Lopez. But a lot of these same channels, they'll make it seem like Bud Crawford hasn't accomplished much, and that he don't deserve a fight with Errol Spence because of this, or has to go into a fight with Errol Spence as far as negotiations go, with his hat in his hand, and you know, basically accepting of anything that that Errol Spence throws in his direction monetarily. But will then turn around and tell you that Devin Haney, or better yet, they'll tell you that Teofimo Lopez is ducking Devin Haney, like, and they'll give you a myriad of reasons why when it comes to in reference to Devin Haney being ducked by Teofimo. But they've been quiet. Like, these same channels have been quiet for half of a decade. Like, you know, a lot of times within, like, us waiting for half of a decade for Bud Crawford and Errol Spence to fight, Errol Spence has done various things that made him look really bitchy, like, when it comes to them not fighting each other. I mean, like, in recent history, I mean, like, Errol Spence rushed into Ugas fight, which, I mean, it didn't materialize because now he's fighting Manny Pacquiao, which is great. But the reasoning behind Errol Spence not making Bud Crawford fight was because he was collecting belts. I mean, like, even though Manny Pacquiao is a fantastic fight for Errol Spence, money-wise, I mean, like, I'm not, like, pumped up about seeing it, because I've seen Manny Pacquiao lose, and I want him to lose just to get him out of the division. I want him to get knocked out, and I hope Errol Spence is able to do that. But if everything was about collecting belts and you really couldn't be critical about Errol Spence because he was in pursuit of collecting belts, even though his last 2 fights, I mean, like, he's not collecting belts. He fought Danny Garcia and, damn. And, he fought, now he's fighting Manny Pacquiao. But, they won't make a mention of that. They won't make a mention of the fact that Errol Spence, saw Bud Crawford at his last fight in the crowd and asked, what's he doing here? Like, that stuff goes underreported. But, God forbid, like, Teofimo Lopez isn't, like, gun-ho about fighting Devin Haney, like, immediately after fighting Lomachenko. Then, Devin Haney's the biggest duck artist right after Bud Crawford and AJ. It's this double standard that made me fall out of love with a lot of these channels. And the thing is too that as far as boxing goes, if I'm a fan of anybody, which I'm not, I'm a fan of Wilder, like, #1, but I'll make videos critical of Wilder, and it's not like to gain fanfare, like, ain't none of that. It is what it is, like, just because I like a boxer doesn't mean that I have to be extra defensive, like, of the moves he makes, because I have friends that if they bitch out, I'll be the first one in line saying, like, you're fucking, you're not about it like that. But also, like, as far as my fanfare goes, 1 and 2 in some order would have to be Bud Crawford and Teofimo Lopez. I'm not saying that the best Teofimo Lopez, like, ranks anywhere near Bud Crawford, but I like Teofimo Lopez because he represents a dynamic that I'm from, like, or a group that I'm from, like, in a sense, like, as far as Latin dudes that speak English first and, like, have that little hood aspect to him. His dad is very similar to my dad, and the biggest thing is that he's from my same neighborhood, Sunset Park, Brooklyn. But I'm not out here, like, saying that Devin Haney don't deserve a fight with him, because Teofimo Lopez did all the heavy lifting of beating Lomachenko and beating homeboy from Ghana, Kome, and that Japanese dude that Teofimo Lopez beat, who's since he beat him, I mean, like, he's put in some good fights. I mean, like, that Japanese dude is probably better than anybody that Devin Haney fought. But I'm not saying, oh, well, like, Devin Haney got to fight this one, that one, like, to do heavy lifting. Do I think that fight, like, as boxing is, like, should be built up? Sure. Let me eat this light. But do I think that he shouldn't fight him because of Teofimo Lopez obviously has a bigger name than him? Absolutely not. But a lot of these, like, channels will do that same shit when it's even debatable. Like, I mean, like, they're in the same realm. Like, when you talk about Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, that, like, neither one of them dudes ain't accomplished shit. Teofimo Lopez has had fights though with recently with 4 or 6 million people when he fought Lomachenko for free on ESPN. But let me know what you guys think. With that, I'm out. Peace.